Michele is working towards ordination as a deacon in the United Methodist Church, and deacons are in a unique position where they match the needs of the community with the church community, and so they offer opportunities for collaboration and working together. And so Michele just has that eye to be able to spot opportunities like that. And of course, with her creation of Crave, we're the embodiment of that.
So essentially, Crave is a program that invests in young leaders, both as it relates to personal and professional development. A lot of times they're working on grassroots projects in different stages of development. Some can be just in the planning and conceptual phase, all the way to full-on implementation and trying to scale. And Crave really brings in stakeholders that want to be a part of that mission of really making the world a better place ultimately. So whether it's through a mentor or a coach, or whether it's through a respected leader in the community that has a certain skill set, you're able to meet with those individuals on a consistent basis, all during the time of building a relationship and a rapport with peers who desire to have the same mission of making the world a better place, and leaders. So it's just a great network. It's a gift that keeps on giving. I've never been a part of something that's so organically genuine.
I like to say that our relationships are transformational, not transactional. While we do connect our leaders with different people in the community who can help expand their networks, both parties are mutually benefited from that relationship. Everyone walks away changed, their perspectives expanded. So it's a beautiful journey that we take in the 8 months that we're together. Crave started off with just Michele as an employee, so to speak, doing all of the work, all of the relationship building. She recruited that first board to really start to put things in place.
When I look at Crave and I think about Michele, they're one and the same. Crave is just an extension of her in terms of an agency or a program. Everything that Crave represents came through her heart, came through her head, came through her vision, and what she's about.
Whenever Michele asks people to do something, you want to do it. She just has that passion and magnetism that gets people on board.
All I needed to do was meet Michele, and from meeting Michele, I fell in love with her, even without knowing everything that I needed to know about Crave, and the process kind of took off from that point on.
Michele, first of all, is visionary. For someone to be able to create this concept, you have to be visionary and be able to think outside of the box.
Her heart, her personality, she has this unique ability to come off as so bubbly and charismatic, but still genuine at the same time. And I think that that's rare because a lot of people cannot really specialize in both. And she has that.
She is an incredible speaker, and so when she represents Crave in the community, she is able to speak about it and get others excited about what we're doing. She really empowers people. I mean, she has set up a board of directors and an advisory council made up of volunteers in order to see Crave to rise to its next level and become, a more professional organization, because we were once a startup and now we're really moving into getting more organized, getting our funding and things like that. So she's also very empowering when it comes to volunteers.
I oftentimes watch Michele in public settings because she always makes you feel special. And I try to watch her in public settings to see, does everybody else feel just as special when they're engaging with Michele, or is it just me? But it's everybody. And I mean, that's why she's the perfect fit. That's why she founded Crave. That's why she's ordained by God.
Michele has transitioned to serving as the founder on our board of directors. So she's no longer an employee of Crave, but still gives so much of her time and energy and effort into ensuring that Crave is a success. In February, we gathered at our board meeting and knew that we were transitioning into needing to raise our full budget. And then of course the pandemic hit, and so Michele was the first one to say, I don't need to take a salary anymore, and I can take a step back but still volunteer my time. So it wasn't like she was just walking away from Crave. She humbly said, in order for us to be able to be financially sustainable during this time, I'm going to make this sacrifice, and yet I'm still going to show up and still be as involved as she ever was before.
That's who Michele is. If it's about the greater good, it's about furthering the mission. If it's about taking care of the people that are supporters and that are stakeholders in this work, she's going to embody that. And why Crave is her baby, but more importantly, the mission of what Crave is about. And who wouldn't want to support a leader like that? I mean, when we talk about our ultimate leader from a Christian perspective, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. So what a surprise Michele, who hopefully is about to be an ordained minister, she's giving. Surprise, that's who she is.
I think that's partly because she's so passionate and she believes in this work. So she wants to see Crave grow and expand. And that's a true mark of a leader, to be able to take a step back and say, this is not about me, but this is about what God's doing. That shows a lot of courage and humility, and that's exactly who Michele is. I think Michele recognized that the church has been declining in terms of our young adult engagement for years, and still, even though we've tried a lot, we still haven't been able to figure out ways to connect with that generation. And so Michele took a totally different approach and said, I don't think it's about anything that a church program can provide to attract young adults. We need to actually go out in the community and build relationships with them where they are. And that's exactly what she did. And I think that's why Crave is so successful, because it shows that there's a genuineness about getting to know these young leaders and being in relationship with them, rather than trying something to attract them into the church. So she has found a key, I think, in that for the future. What makes us unique as opposed to other leadership organizations in Central Florida is the spiritual formation component. We believe that in order to to enrich the outer work that our leaders do, that they need to continually find those spiritual practices to help ground them in that passion and what drives them, especially in those times when it gets tough and things seem insurmountable.
So I grew up in the church, and in growing up in the church, one of the biggest gripes that I had with the adults who are the generations before me, where there was this expectation of perfection without this vulnerability and transparency. So you didn't want me to date girls, or you didn't want me caught up in drugs, and you were very passionate about that. But as I grew and matured, what I came to realize is a lot of those older generations, they struggled with some of those same things. And because they struggled with it, they thought the answer was just to block it off from me, and for me and my peers to not have any information about that. Well, Michele is the complete opposite. Michele and I have connected on serious situations, and the reason why it's not only genuine but profound, because I can look at somebody who I admire and as a leader and with a heart and a stellar example, and she shared with me personal struggles that she's going through that I've experienced. And number one, it makes you feel like you're not alone. Number two, it inspires you, it gives you motivation because you still have hope. And number three, you have this genuine connection, like, whoa, I appreciate you telling me about what's going on with you, because you could easily walk around and be considered this perfect person or this glass house. But the fact that she's, for me personally, has been willing to open up and, I mean, trust me. Even I don't even feel deserving, honestly, but that's why I'm here today. That's why I'm here whenever she calls, not just because of what she's done for me, but for others as well.
And step into a new day. We can rise up from.
I think the pandemic, in a way, has given us an opportunity to think outside of the box. And because we're a small nonprofit, we've been able to pivot pretty easily. So moving to online platforms. And so I think, you know, through the pandemic and having to switch to online platforms, this will help us vision in the future to how we can expand beyond Central Florida, even with our Crave leaders. They might not have to live here in Orlando, but we can gather as a community online.
It's growing. I have a growth mindset, and I'm a firm believer that either you're growing or you're dying. And since I've been a part of Crave, I've seen nothing but growth. Went from one cohort to two cohorts, went from one city to two cities. You have alumni, multiple classes that are now being, created. All of these stakeholders where they may have came to volunteer one time and now they want to be more embedded in the framework. Maybe they were just a volunteer, now the next year they want to be a mentor. Maybe they were a mentor and now they're recommending other people to be a part of this work. So I think people see how important it is. And when you have a leader that's a conduit like Michele, as long as she's operating in the gift that God has given her and the passion, she's going to attract other people that want to see this work grow and grow.
I think our goal is to be able to expand beyond just Orlando. We did have a Crave cohort last year in Sanford. And even this year, one of our Crave leaders lives in Sanford, and she's able to participate because we only meet twice a month, which is is a reasonable ask for someone to commute, but also some of our things happen via Zoom, which is nice because that can help us expand our reach in the future. It allows us to work with community partners who may not live in Central Florida. In fact, last year we Zoomed with one from California. So I think Michelle's hope, it really is expansion and bringing Crave into different cities, especially in Florida, and making a difference in these larger communities that have similar issues that we're dealing with here in Orlando.
There's a red sea road when we can't see the way. He will part the waves, and we'll never walk alone down a red sea road. Oh, help us believe you are faithful, you're faithful. When our hearts are breaking, you are faithful, you're faithful. We'll grant us eyes to see, you are faithful, you're faithful. Teach us to sing, you are faithful, you're faithful, you're faithful.
We are living proof of her work and her giftedness and her perseverance. And so I hope that we will continue to do all we can to give her the space that she needs to continue to think and dream and create, and that we will be just as passionate to carry those visions into fruition in the future. When she's ordained, it's as if the church is saying, we believe in what you're doing and the difference that you're making, and you are suited for this work for life. And so I'm honored to be part of her journey.